Well, hello to you all. Welcome to another wonderful opportunity to be able to experience the Word of God a chapter at a time. As we have been journeying throughout this month, we've been taking each day and reading a Proverbs. I find it very good and interesting to start off this new year with being able to experience the Word of God and the wisdom that it has for us. What better way to start planning on how we are going to make this year better than the last year? What better ways to increase and improve ourselves than to start off with wisdom that begins off with God? And we have been doing that faithfully here throughout this month. And even with as faithful and dedicated to the task, there are still things that happen that sometimes create some hiccups. And so here today, we're going to do a double recording. We're going to do a recording from yesterday's, which is the Proverbs 24, and then we'll do Proverbs 25 immediately following. And so, without any further ado, we are going to begin, and we're going to be reading from Proverbs 24 out of the English Standard Version. And we'll be reading this in its entirety. It is comprised of oh, it's a pretty nice read here. 34 verses here in Proverbs 24. And so let us read what the word has to say. I'm going to pull it right on up on the screen so that you can see it as well. Let's see. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. I love it. I love it. Now we're trying to see if us. Let's see. Okay, nope. I think I like it with me down here in the corner. Um, I can do side by side, but that makes it smaller. And so here at this point, I want the text bigger. And so let us go through, and I'm going to pull out my my phone because I want to be able to see if it shows that I am live. I know the other day when utilizing it, it did not. Um, but hey, there it is. It shows that I am live this at this point in time. And so we're going to continue on. And I just wanted to want to make sure that I can see what you all are seeing and want to see what that looks like and things of that nature. And so uh, I think I'm gonna be able to, but who knows? Technology. It works great when you don't need it. That's my motto, and I'm sticking to it. And so, anyway, let us go through it. We're going to read through Proverbs 24 on this day, and this is what it says: Do not be in, excuse me. Do not. Oh, wow. Hmm. Let's begin. Proverbs 24 out of the English Standard Version. Be not envious of evil men, nor desire to be with them, for their hearts devise violence, and their lips talk of trouble. Oh. By wisdom, a house is built, and by understanding, it is established. By knowledge, the rooms are filled with all precious and pleasant riches. A wise man is full of strength, and a man of knowledge enhances his might. For by wise guidance you can wage your war in abundance of counselor, excuse me, and in abundance of counselors there is victory. Wisdom is too high for a fool. In the gate he does not open his mouth. Whoever plans to do evil will be called a schemer, and the devising of folly is sin, and the scoffer is an abomination to mankind. If you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. Rescue those who are being taken away to death. Let's see. Let me just try to see here. There we go. That's a little bit better. Let's start back at verse 10. If you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. Rescue those who are being taken away to death. Hold back those who are stumbling to the slaughter. If you say, behold, we did not know this, does not he who weighs the heart perceives it? Does not he who keeps watch over your soul knows it? And will he not repay man according to his works? Uh-oh. My son, eat honey, for it is good, and the drippings of the honeycomb are sweet to your taste. Know that wisdom is such to your soul. If you find it, there will be a future, and your hope will not be cut off. Lie not in wait as wicked men against the dwelling of the righteous. Do not, do not do no violence to his home. Verse 16, for the righteous falls 7 times and rises again, but the wicked stumble in times of calamity. Do not rejoice when your enemy falls, and let not your heart be glad when he stumbles. Lest the Lord see it and be displeased and turn away his anger from him. Fret not yourselves because of evildoers, and be not envious of wicked, for the wicked man has no future. The lamp of the wicked will be put out. My son, fear the Lord and the king, and do not join with those who do otherwise, for disaster will arise suddenly from them. And who knows the ruin that will come from them both? These are also, these also are sayings of the wise. Partiality in judging is not good. Whoever says to the wicked, you are in the right, will be cursed by people and abhorred by nations. But those who rebuke the wicked will have delight, and a good blessing will come upon them. Whoever gives an honest answer kisses the lips. Verse 27. Prepare your work outside. Get everything ready for yourselves in the field, and after that, build your house. Be not a witness against your neighbor without cause, and do not deceive with your lips. Do not say, I will do to him as he has done to me. I will pay the man back for what he has done. I passed by the field of the sluggard, the vineyard of a man lacking sense. And behold, it was all overgrown with thorns. The ground was covered with needles, and the stone wall was broken down. Then I saw and considered it. I looked and received instruction. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come upon you like a robber, and want like an armed man. That is Proverbs 34. We've read this in its entirety. You see, just reading through this, it really has a strong connotation of how we are to interact, how we are to be engaged with one another. It has so much impacts and influence on things being and pertaining unto that. And so knowing that even in this season, how we address things, how we deal with one another, it is vital and important. And so much so, the majority of this text here today, the majority of this Proverbs 24, it deals with a lot of what that looks like. Um, let's see here. I want to go back and I want to look at something. Let's see here. think I do. If I can, let's see here. Control Noon. All right. So the first thing I want to really be able to pull out and to be able to look at is we're looking at verse 11. Out of all of these different instructions that we have here, there was something particular and unique as we began to look at these things. And that's why I do have some comments already starting to come in. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull that up as well. Um, let's see here. Create that. Bam. Boom. Add. Let's see what's in our comments here. Hey, Pastor Mike, good afternoon. Hey, man, look, I saw you made a post earlier um, about the ministry that you do, but you had it like where I couldn't share. I would have loved to been able to share what you're doing with others as well. So I don't know what you may be able to do with that. I would love to be able to share it. I'll probably go back on the post if you unsure of what I may be talking about. But let's see here. Back to this here. Always good to be able to see you on and being able to see you sharing and wanting to be with us here today. Um, but look, when I saw verse 11, here's what I began to see. It talks about rescuing those who are being taken away to death. We ought to be concerned about those who are around us. We ought to be concerned about the direction that people are going in. I don't know about you, but I know in my family there are many of folks that is still living a sinful life, that is still moving in such a way, in a direction that is not the way of the Lord. But in all of that, this does not um how do I want to say this here? It does not move me to a point where I should not care. We should always care about those around us and what they are experiencing. We should always have a care about the things that they are experiencing. And so when I just was thinking about that, just how many of us are really concerned about those um no, I don't want to stop sharing. I want to go here. And I'm still learning this stuff. But look, it said, rescue those who are being taken away. When I think about that word rescue, it really has some strong connotations into it. That is just not that I just sit by on the sideline, but to actually to rescue is to save or to put forth an effort. Um, let's see here. Yeah, it's really to save, to release, to actually truly rescue someone. It takes some time. It takes some energy. It takes some investing. It takes some some things. It just don't just happen, but it needs us to be able to work together in some of those different things to be able to truly be someone that are rescuing someone from when we see the different things that they are entangled in. We ought to have a care for others. It says those who are being taken away to death. That even to me, even thinking of caused me to think about that that phrase being taken away. That being taken away means that they are in the act, even in that moment of being drawn away, being moved from one way. We ought to have a care for one another. We should not wait until the end to be able to have a response. But while those are that we love are being taken away, we ought to be active in their lives. This makes me think of being accountable. We ought to help, have a standard where we can hold one another accountable, and we should be pursuing that type of accountability when it comes down to the care of other people. But then not only that, he kind of like doubles down on it because he also the proverb writer not only tells us to not just rescue those who are being taken away, but it also says this next phrase right here, um, hold back those who are stumbling to the slaughter. This looks a little bit different because I believe there are some that their desires have truly drawn them away. It is truly their own appetite that is causing them to move in such a manner, in a way. I'm trying to readjust my camera here just a little bit. Um, and those desires will draw us away. But then there is also other times when we may see some that are stumbling. We may see some folks that are just they're getting tripped up by life. They're just stumbling along, and it's having that same impact as someone that has been drawn away from by their desires. Um, Let me put it in an easy manner, a way you can always leave your thoughts and comments as well. Um, so when I'm just thinking about that difference that is there, when I think about someone that has been drawn away or having a desire, one of the easier ones I think about is maybe someone that has an addiction. Um, and for that person to have that addiction really does have, or they have created a desire. They have a desire for whatever that thing is that they are addicted to. They have a strong want for what is there for them. So that desire, that want, that drug, that alcohol, it has an appeal to them. And so I mean, I don't know. If sometimes I made, for instance, there's a story here. I'm saying here because I know there are some that watch that are not Omaha natives. But here in Omaha, Nebraska, there is a grocery store by the name of Family Fare. Um, and some of you that have been with me for a while, you've heard me use this analogy or talk about this store and this capacity. I love their chicken. And there has been times where maybe I may be going there to um, maybe get some milk. Maybe I'm going there to just grab a couple of items, a case of water. But when that chicken is coming up fresh out of that grease, it has a tendency to make me want it. And because I love their chicken, I already have an appetite that desires and that loves that chicken. By it being I'm in a place where it is available, and oh, just the smell of that fresh hot chicken deals even in that realm of it being accessible. And when I think about that combination, it is something that is easy to draw me out of the just going in there and just getting that gallon of milk, getting that carton of eggs. But there are some that have strong desires that are, just as it's saying in verse 11, that are being taken away to death. Now, the chicken in this analogy that I just gave, of that smell of that fresh chicken, it draws me away. I am being taken away from going, I'm only going in here to get these eggs, and I'm only going to buy or spend this money on these eggs. But it draws me away to spend more money because of something that I have an appetite for. For those of us throughout this year, those of us that is born again, purchased with the precious blood of the Lamb, we ought to have a concern and a care for others that are being drawn away by sinful desires that leads them to a place of death. When I'm looking at this here and I see that end part to death, that allows me to know and realize that it has a destination attached to it. It has an intention, a direction that it is drawing them to. I mean, in other words, that person is going to be drawn away until they reach that space, until they reach that place. For me, in the chicken analogy, I'm going to be drawn away until I get, either until I leave the store or I surrender and go buy some chicken. And so just that, from that aspect of being drawn away, uh, that's one of the things we want to look at here. Pastor Davis, good being able to see you. Good afternoon, my dear brother. Pray and bless all that. Pray that all is well with you and yours. And so just looking at this here, this rescue, those who are those people who are being taken away, who are being drawn away to death. Well, what causes someone to be drawn away to death? Things of their temptations, their desires that do not line up with the will of God. But then, not only that, as we see here in the text, it also talks about holding back those who are stumbling to the slaughter. Um, hmm. When I think about this, in this manner, in this sense, I'm just trying to think of a good way to say it as I'm looking at a couple of different things here. That really, to hold back something is to prevent something, to stop something from taking place. I'm laughing. I'm sorry. I just seen this comment. Pastor David said, "It's about chicken time." Yes, yes, yes. That's funny. Yes, but um, to leave an instruction, I mean obstruction, not instruction, an obstruction to prevent or restrict the progress of something that is taking place. Hey, I see my queen. She is on. Hey, hey, boo. How you doing? So good. I'm glad for you to be on. You guys are going for a treat at the end of this month. I'll tell you, I know that there is going to be something great when we do Proverbs 31 together. Um, but when I think about this phrase that is here, that we are to hold back those who are stumbling to the slaughter. Notice to hold back that, like I said, that restriction, that preventing someone from moving forward. Who is this that we ought to prevent from moving forward? Those who are stumbling. How is the one stumbling different than the one that is in the previous portion that was being drawn away? How is that different from rescuing those who are being taken away versus holding back those who are stumbling? Well, when I think about someone that is stumbling, it is not intentional. They may have been traveling with an intent to go a particular way, and they have hit a snag that have caused them to lose their balance. When someone begins to lose their balance, hey, not too long ago, I lost my footing, and I started using other parts of my personal body to kind of try to gain my footing, so to speak. Uh, There I am. I'm back. I thank y'all for holding on in there with me. Yes, Minister Mike, I was having some technical difficulties. Don't worry, Pastor Davis. No, it was not the chicken that took over my mind. Yeah, the chicken took over. I had to go grab me some real quick. You know, no. um, but no. I'm not sure what all happened there. That was very interesting because it literally knocked out all of my screens, um, and I was not able to see anything. So that was very interesting. It just showed a blank on my screen, and obviously, I mean, um, one thing I mean, I did have my my phone set as well, so I was able to at least be able to see um, that it was still on and still live and still going. So I'm just trying to get it all back together now. Get it all back together. So anyway, we are back. We are back. I'm glad you all didn't log out and stay with me. Um, so no, it's giving me some other things now. All right. So anyway, so as we was talking, I know we was talking about those um, who had been rescued, who had been taken away, who needed to be rescued, who need to be saved because their life is just because of their desire is going the wrong way, versus those who are stumbling, who who happens to keep getting tripped up by the different things that they are experiencing. And like I said, I think there is definitely a difference that is there when those are getting tripped up. They're going in the right direction. Life just be lifing, and they hit a snag. And I think I was giving an analogy of when how if I was to hit my foot or snag or trip or start to stumble, I'm going to use my arms and legs. I'm going to use other parts of my body to try to embrace and keep me from falling flat on my face. And when we see folks that are moving in a direction that is leading them to a pathway that they do not want to be in, that is being that are stumbling. When we see people who are stumbling, we ought to do all that we can to to hold back, to prevent the progress from going forward. But then not only does it have these two things, as we were looking at this text, as it was telling us about how we ought to rescue, how are we to even hold back. In verse 12, it says, let me pull that right on up here, and it should. Hold on. Oh, there it is. It wouldn't let me. I said, man, it really moved a whole lot of stuff here for me. Um, but then also, so not only those two things. Look, now he begins this part in verse 12. He says, "If you say, behold, we did not know this." We try to act like we didn't know nothing. Kind of act kind of frivolous. We kind of act like we was kind of unaware of the things that was going on. And here's the warning that does come along with that. There is a warning when we try to act like we don't know no better, when we try to perpetrate and make it seem like we had no knowledge of what was going on. What they was they was doing that, man. I had no idea. The proverb, he's here talking to us. He said, "Look, I need you to pay attention to this part. If you act like you don't know what was going on, here is the problem or the issue that would happen. Um, am I okay? I'm about to say, am I still recording? Because it's doing a lot of freezing around here. Um, but he says, "Does not he who weighs the heart perceives it?" He who weighs the heart. The question then becomes, who is weighing the heart? Who is weighing? Who's weighing your heart? Who's weighing? Who's weighing your heart? Well, I know the one who weighs the heart is none other than God Himself. And if God, when that same one, He perceives it, He knows it, He has um, He has a view that is not like ours. For something, He is aware of what is going on. That's what it really means to perceive. I'm looking at definition: to become aware or conscious of a thing, to realize and understand it. It's not the one that truly knows the heart. Is he not able to recognize or be aware of when we are moving in a manner that is deceitful, that we're lying, when we act like we don't know? But then not only do we see these things here, but he also, we looking at even at the bottom as they're scrolling around, scrolling back. If you say, "Behold, we did not know this," does not he who weighs the heart perceive? I mean, that even in itself is just should give us something to think about. Um, but no, he don't just stop at the one who who watches the heart or who knows the heart, who weighs the heart. I should have said that's the word I was looking for. But then he doubles down on it, because not only does he weighs the heart, but he also he watches over your soul. He said, "Look, does not he who watches or keep watch over your soul know it?" So not only is he aware of it, but he has the proper knowledge of it. The same one that is tending to, paying close attention, that is guarding and protecting your heart, I mean, your soul. Does he not also know these things? Um, and so we see how valuable it is about how we tend to one another. Why? Because ultimately, the one that weighs the heart, the one that keep watch over your soul, he not only does those two things, but he will repay man. How will he repay us? According to his works. And so I know right now there's a lot of energy that is being used and concerned about the political state of our country and in the direction that it's heading in. Just know that there is a fee that he will be paying, or that will be repaid to him. I should say it from this standpoint. And it will be not according to anything else but his works. But for us, how are we going to live our life? Are we going to be able to fulfill the obligations that this verse really speaks of? Are we going to really be able to fulfill that obligation? I'm going to try to pull that up again, make it bigger, um, because he, the one that weighs the heart, the one that is keeping watch over our soul. It is he, that same one. We see he. Look at that. I mean, just look at this. The challenge is for us. I mean, we see right here, there is nothing there. Um, and so I'm gonna put it in parentheses and just the way that thing is set up there. Um, Let me put it right here then. You are the one that are to be rescuing, not someone else. You. But then not only are you ought to be rescuing, but you ought to be holding back. And we have already identified these who are being taken away and those who are stumbling. Why we do that? Because they both are heading in a place of destruction. We'll put that in red because that's where we want to stop them. They're heading toward a place of destruction. So you rescue, you hold back, you prevent them moving forward. Why? Why should we do this? Well, I mean, almost in a sense, like not in a even if in getting straight to the why, but as an additional warning. We see this clause that is here, this if. Hold up now. Because if you think that you can hide this, if you think you can say with your words, remember this, if you can say this phrase right here, I'm gonna put this in bold print and underline it. If this is what you're saying with your mouth, the question then becomes, does not he we'll highlight that in purple, because we know when we also look at that, we come to realization that that's God. Does not he, with this other who statement, who weighs the heart, does not he who weighs the heart, does he not perceive it? Does he not understand? Is he not aware of what's going on? Do he not know what is really in your heart? And then not hold up, not only that, but does not he, here he is again. Go back to that purple. This is speaking of a royalty. Does not God, let's put it where it is. Does not God not only knows your heart, but he's also watching over your soul? Does not the God that knows your heart? Yes, I mean, we hear it all the time. Well, God knows my heart. Yep, exactly. He does know your heart. He knows exactly where your heart, regardless of how you try to sugarcoat it here. You can't sucker punch God. You can't pull the bait and switch with God. You may be able to deceive some other folks. You may be able to trick some folks, but you cannot deceive the one that weighs the heart and that keep watch over your soul. I see Sister Marlo on here. Good to see you on there. As we was on a teaching last night, he said, and our teacher, he said, basically in a sense, he said, and I'm sure Sister Marla will correct me if I quote it all the way wrong, but he said, if you think you're gonna get away with it, if you think that's what you can do with God, then he'll turn that thing around and flip it back on you and leave you in a space where you can't even return back from it. If you think that you are doing something by trying to trick God, because not only is he the one that knows the heart and is watching over your soul, um, but he's also the one that perceives. He discerns it. He's aware of it, but he also knows it. But hold up. Based off of what he is able to perceive and based off of what he knows, here is how he will respond. Will he not? We're going back into royalty here, so we're going to put that back in royalty. And so what is it that he's going to do? He's going to repay. He's going to repay. This is action. I'm going to put that in green because that's what he's going to do. He's going to repay. Man, this is that same you, but this is just that general category. Not talking about man and female, but humankind, mankind. How is he going to repay us? According to, or in this manner, in line with his. What? Who is it his? Is this his speaking of God's work? No, it is speaking of your work. You are going to be paid back according to your work. If this right here is what you are saying, but your heart is not there, if that's not really what's in your soul, you're going to be paid back because you failed to rescue. You failed to hold folks back because you act like you don't know. All I'm saying is the way that we do move, it is valid, it's valuable, and God cares about how we tend to treat one another, saved and unsaved. So anyway, I do see that I've had a few of my other friends that have joined on with us. Pastor Sean Thompson, People's Mission. Not People's Mission. I still want to put you with Second Baptist Church. He did a church merger here in our city, where there was one church that was People's Mission Church, and then the other one was Second Baptist Church. And then under his leadership, he was able to bring them back. It actually was a reconciliation, because before he came, a while back, those churches have been one church, but then there was a split. But when God begins to move, he could just do something that would take something that men have split and bring it back together again. And so I'm thankful for the leadership that he provides, man. And I owe you a call and a conversation. DeMarcus, good to be able to see you on here. Amen, he says. And so I thank you all for tuning in and watching. As you can see, whenever you do leave comments, I do like to be able to dialogue along with you and make this a back and forth experience. I just saw that in the text today. I spent a little bit more time than what I was intending on spending. But I think when it comes down, especially in this day and age that we are living in, when so many people are being drawn away, they're being enticed by their own desires. And when so many different things is taking place in our world, that it is laying out stumbling blocks before many Christians, that we ought to take being people that hold folks accountable and being people of actions and helping folks out. We ought to take these things serious, because we are inching that much closer to the last days. And I don't know what last day is going to be the last day, but I do know a last day is on the way. And when that last day comes, God is going to judge based off of the contents of your heart and not the words that you have just been saying. No wonder he will say unto some that have preached in his name, that have cast out demons in his name, depart from me, for I never knew you. Because even though your words matched, your heart didn't, your soul didn't. Well, anyway, I'm going to take a small break and I will be right back with you probably in about 15 minutes or so. And we're going to do Proverbs 25 because that's the actual one that we ought to be on today. I'm going to attend to some of these technical glitches that we had, and we'll be back before you very shortly. But until then, surely may God bless you and surely may God keep you. That is my humble prayer. Thank you for joining us with another opportunity to experience the word of God a chapter at a time.